I would like to personally understand the sins, the bad things you did, and the bad things you didn't do. So I also should say that the thing I hope to do here is to give respect to due process. Innocent until proven guilty, that the mass hysteria machine of the internet and clickbait journalism doesn't do. So here's what I am. There were criminal and civil trials brought against you, including the one that started it all when Anthony Rapp sued you for $40 million. In these trials, you were acquitted, found not guilty, and not liable. Is that right?
Yes.
I think that's really important, again, in terms of due process. And I read a lot, and I watched a lot in preparation for this on this including, of course, the recently detailed interviews you did with Dan Wooten and then Allison Pearson of The Telegraph. And those were all focused on this topic. And they were detailed when you respond in detail to many of the allegations. If people are interested in the details, they can listen to those. So, based on that, everything I looked at, as I understand, you never prevented anyone from leaving if they wanted to, sort of in a sexual context, for example, by blocking the door. Is that right?
That's correct, yeah.
You always respected the explicit no and the sexual context. All right? You've never done anything sexual with an underage person, right?
Never.
And also, as is sometimes not as popular as this, you've never explicitly offered to exchange sexual favors for career advancement, correct?
Correct.
In terms of bad behavior, what did you do? What was the worst? And how often did you do it?
I have heard now, quite often, everybody has a Kevin Spacey story. And what that tells me is that I hit on a lot.
How often did you cross the line?
I did a lot of personal, a lot of things that at the time I thought were sort of playful and fun. And I have learned since we're not. And I have had to recognize that I crossed some boundaries and I did some things that were wrong and I made some mistakes. And that's in my past. I mean, I've been working so hard over these last 7 years to have the conversations I needed to have, to listen to people, to understand things from a different perspective than the one that I had, and to say, I will never behave that way again for the rest of my life.
Just to clarify, I think you're often too pushy with the flirting. And that manifests itself in multiple ways. But just to make clear, you never prevented anyone from leaving if they wanted to. You always took the explicit no from people as an answer. No, stop. You took that for the answer. You've never done anything sexual with an underage person. And you've never explicitly offered to exchange sexual favors for career advancement. These are some of the sort of accusations made, and in court of law, multiple times have been shown not to be true.
But I have had a sexual life, and I've fallen in love, and I've been so admiring people that I mean, I'm so romantic. I'm such a romantic person that there's this whole side of me that hasn't been talked about, isn't being discussed, but that's who I know. That's the person I know. It's been very upsetting to hear that some people have said, I mean, I don't have a violent bone in my body, but to hear people describe things as having been very aggressive is incredibly difficult for me. And I'm deeply sorry that I ever offended anyone or hurt anyone in any way. It is crushing to me, and I have to work very hard to show and to prove that I have learned, I got the memo, and I will never, ever, ever behave in this way.
So everything I've seen in public interaction with you, people love you. Colleagues love you, co-workers love you. There's a flirtatiousness. Another word for that is chemistry. There's chemistry between you.
And by the way, not to take anything away from it, my accountability for things I did where I got it wrong, I crossed the line, I pushed some boundaries. I accept all of it. But I live in an industry in which flirtation, attraction, people meeting in the workspace and ending up marrying each other, having children. So it is a space, a place where these notions of family, these notions of attraction, these notions of it's always complicated if you meet someone in the workspace and find yourselves attracted to each other. You have to be mindful of it. You have to be very mindful. You don't ever want anyone to feel that their job is in jeopardy, or you would punish them in some way if they no longer wanted to be with you. So those are important things to just acknowledge.